At a masked ball, the CEO kissed a stranger unaware. She was his assistant. Now he wants her. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, it is free, and it is the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories like this one. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. She does not belong in rooms like this. She knows it the moment she steps onto the marble floor. Crystal chandeliers hang overhead, throwing warm gold light across silk gowns and tailored tuxedos. The soft hum of conversation blends with string music and the gentle clink of champagne glasses. Every detail whispers money. Old money. The kind that never needs to speak loudly. Her heels are modest, barely 2 inches high. Her dress is rented, navy blue, simple, elegant enough to pass if no one looks too closely. The mask covers half her face, but it does nothing to hide the tension in her shoulders or the way her fingers curl tightly around the edge of her clutch. She is here because she has to be, because her job depends on it. Tonight is the annual Masquerade charity ball, hosted by the man who signs her paycheck every 2 weeks, the man whose calendar she manages down to the minute, the man whose coffee order she memorizes better than her own, the billionaire chief executive officer, her boss. She exhales slowly, reminding herself of the rules. Do not draw attention. Do not speak unless spoken to. Smile if someone important looks your way. Leave early. Easy enough. She moves through the crowd, eyes lowered, searching for the side corridor that leads to the staff balcony. But then someone bumps into her shoulder, hard enough to make her stumble. I am so sorry, she says automatically, her voice soft, professional, invisible. A hand catches her arm, warm, steady. Are you all right? The voice is low, calm, confident. American, with that effortless authority that comes from never being questioned. She looks up. The mask hides his face, but she sees the sharp line of his jaw, the dark hair brushed neatly back, the tailored black suit that fits him like it was designed for his body alone. He smells faintly of cedar and expensive cologne. Yes, she says. Yes, I am fine. Thank you. She tries to step back. He does not let go. Around them, the music swells. Laughter ripples through the room. Somewhere nearby, a camera flashes. You are not hiding very well, he says lightly. Her heart skips. I am sorry? You look like you want to disappear. She gives a small, nervous laugh. Maybe I do. Something shifts in his posture. Interest. Curiosity. The kind of attention she spends her entire working life avoiding. Then you picked the wrong night, he says. This room notices everything. She should walk away. She knows that. This is dangerous territory. Conversations at events like this are landmines. One wrong word, one wrong assumption, and the consequences land on people like her, not men like him. But the music slows. Couples begin to move toward the center of the floor. He extends his hand. One dance, he says. No names, no questions, just one song. She hesitates. Her mind races through excuses, through rules, through risk. Then she looks at his hand again. And for the first time in a very long while, she does something reckless. She places her hand in his. They move together easily, like they have done this before, like their bodies already know the rhythm. His hand rests at her waist, respectful but firm. Her palm presses against his shoulder, feeling the strength beneath the fabric. You dance well, she says. So do you, he replies. What do you do when you are not trying to vanish? She smiles beneath the mask. I am an assistant, he chuckles. Then you are running the world without getting credit. Everybody. She laughs before she can stop herself. A real laugh. Free, unafraid. The song builds. The room fades. For these few minutes, she is not invisible. She is not replaceable. She is simply a woman being seen. The music ends. Applause fills the air. They stop moving, standing too close, neither stepping away. I wish I knew who you were, he says quietly. She swallows. You do not. That is a shame. He reaches up, hesitates, then lowers his hand. A decision passes through his eyes, even though she cannot see them clearly. Then he leans in. The kiss is not planned, not rushed, not careless. It is slow, certain, electric. The world seems to hold its breath, and neither of them realizes in that moment, that when the masks come off, everything will change. The morning after, the masquerade ball arrives without mercy. The city wakes up like it always does. Traffic hums, coffee shops open their doors, emails flood inboxes. The world moves on, unaware that for her, everything feels slightly off balance. She stands in the elevator of the glass tower where she works, eyes fixed on the glowing numbers as they climb. 32, 33, 34. Her reflection stares back from the mirrored wall. Same neat blouse, same low heels, same hair pulled back with careful precision. No mask, no music, no chandeliers. Just reality. Her phone buzzes in her hand. A calendar alert. 8:30 sharp. Executive briefing. His briefing. Her stomach tightens. She tells herself it is ridiculous to feel this way. He does not know who she is. He does not know her name. To him, she was a stranger in a mask, a moment that ended when the music stopped. And yet, the memory refuses to fade. The way his voice sounded close to her ear, the weight of his hand at her waist, the certainty of the kiss. She exhales slowly as the elevator doors slide open. The executive floor is quiet, polished, intimidating. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city, stretching for miles. This is where decisions are made, where fortunes shift, where people like her are expected to be flawless and silent. She walks to her desk, sets down her bag, and opens her laptop. Her fingers move automatically, sorting emails, checking schedules, preparing documents. She is good at this, exceptionally good, because she has to be. There is no room for mistakes when you are an assistant at this level. No safety net, no last name that opens doors. One misstep, and there are 100 others ready to take your place. Her life depends on precision. At exactly 8:29, his office door opens. She does not look up right away. She knows better. "Good morning," he says. The sound of his voice hits her harder than she expects. It is the same voice, calm, controlled, effortlessly commanding. She lifts her eyes and freezes. No mask, no mystery, just him. The billionaire chief executive officer stands a few feet away, reviewing something on his tablet, completely unaware that the woman standing at his desk is the same woman he kissed the night before. Her heart pounds so loudly, she is certain he must hear it. "Good morning, sir," she replies, her tone professional, steady, perfect. He glances up. For half a second, his eyes linger. Not recognition, something else. A pause too long to be coincidence. "Have we met before?" he asks. The question is casual, but it slices straight through her. She swallows. "No, sir." He studies her face, as if searching for a missing piece. Then he nods, dismissing the thought. "Right, my mistake." Her chest tightens with relief and disappointment all at once. He steps past her, into his office. "I will need the board briefing moved to 11, and cancel my lunch." "Yes, sir." "B12 and in bid." "And," he adds, stopping at the doorway, "have someone bring coffee, black." She nods. "Of course." The door closes. She sinks into her chair, her hands trembling just enough that she has to curl them into fists. This is dangerous, because now she knows exactly who he is, and he does not know who she is to him. The power imbalance looms larger than ever. He controls her job, her income, her future. What happened last night should never touch this world. But as she watches the light under his office door, she cannot shake the feeling that something has already shifted. And if the truth comes out, she will be the one who pays the price. The rest of the day passes in fragments. Meetings begin and end. Calls are answered. Documents are revised down to the last decimal. She moves through her tasks with practiced efficiency, but beneath the calm surface, her thoughts refuse to settle. Every sound from his office sharpens her awareness. Every time the door opens, her pulse reacts before her mind can stop it. She keeps her eyes on her screen. She keeps her posture straight. She keeps her distance. At least, she tries to. Just before noon, his door opens again. "Can you come in for a moment?" he asks. Her fingers pause above the keyboard. "Yes, sir." She stands, smooths her skirt, and steps into his office. The room is exactly what she expects. Clean lines, muted colors, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like a private kingdom. A large desk of dark wood sits between them, an unspoken barrier reinforced by power and position. He gestures to the chair across from him. "Sit." She does. "I have been reviewing next month's schedule," he says, scrolling through his tablet. "You reorganized it." "Yes, sir." Based on priority shifts from the board. He nods slowly. You anticipated changes that were not officially confirmed. As I cross-referenced market movement and last quarter voting patterns, she replies evenly. It seemed likely. A pause. That was the right call, he says. The words land heavier than praise should. Thank you, sir. He studies her again. Not openly, not rudely, but with a focus that makes her acutely aware of every breath she takes. What is your name? He asks. She blinks. I am sorry. I realized, he continues, that I have been calling you assistant for weeks. Invested of the privacy. Her throat tightens. My name is Anna. Anna, he repeats, as if testing the sound. Something flickers in his expression. Too fast to name. Very well, he says. You may go. She stands, nods, and turns toward the door. Anna. She stops. Yes, sir? Excellent work today. Her hand tightens around the door handle. Thank you. Back at her desk, she exhales quietly. That should have been nothing, but it was not. That evening, long after the office empties, she remains at her desk finishing one last report. The city outside has darkened, lights blinking on like stars. She reaches into her bag to grab her phone, and her fingers brush against something unexpected. The mask. She had not meant to keep it. It must have slipped into her bag sometime after the ball. She pulls it out slowly, the dark fabric cool against her skin. For a moment, she just stares at it. This simple object, this thin layer of illusion, it changed everything. She remembers his voice again. The way he said he wished he knew who she was. She closes her eyes and tucks the mask back into her bag. A mistake. She knows it is a mistake to hold on to this, but she does anyway. Because somewhere between the kiss and the calendar alerts and the way he said her name, something has begun to grow, and she has no idea how she is supposed to stop it. The next week settles into a dangerous rhythm. Not dramatic, not obvious. Worse, familiar. Anna learns his patterns even more precisely than before. The way he pauses before difficult calls, the way he drinks his coffee slower when something weighs on him, the way his jaw tightens when a meeting drags longer than it should, and he, without realizing it, begins to adjust to her. He asks for her opinion more often. Not orders, questions. What do you think? Does this make sense to you? Would you flag this? Small things, quiet things, but they matter. One evening, as rain streaks down the windows and the city glows in blurred reflections, he steps out of his office while she is gathering her things. It is late, he says. You should go home. I just need 5 more minutes, she replies. He glances at the clock, then at the stack of folders on her desk. Come with me, he says suddenly. Her heart stutters. Sir, I need to clear my head, he continues. There is a cafe across the street. You can bring the files. This crosses a line. Not a rule, not officially, but something unspoken. She hesitates for a fraction of a second, then nods. All right. Outside, the air smells like rain and asphalt. Traffic rushes past. The cafe is quiet, warm, almost empty at this hour. They sit across from each other at a small table. No glass walls, no assistants, no board members. Just 2 people. He loosens his tie. She wraps her hands around a mug of tea. You do not act like most people here, he says. She smiles faintly. Is that a complaint? No, he replies. It is an observation. He studies her again, that familiar sense of searching. You never ask for favors. I was raised not to, she says. Still, he adds, most people do. A pause settles between them. He flips open one of the folders. Walk me through this. She does, calmly, clearly, confidently. When she finishes, he nods once. You see the whole picture. 70. She shrugs slightly. Someone has to. He smiles. It is small, genuine, and it sends an unexpected warmth through her chest. As they stand to leave, his phone buzzes. He checks it and sighs. Another late night. She nods. I can take a cab. I will drive you, he says. That is not necessary. I insist. The drive is quiet, not awkward, not forced. Streetlights pass in steady rhythm. At her building, she hesitates before opening the door. Thank you, she says. For the work, he replies. And the company. As she steps out, he adds softly. You remind me of someone. Her breath catches. Someone you know? No, he says. Someone I have not figured out yet. He drives away before she can respond. She stands there, rain cooling her skin, knowing with absolute certainty that this second contact is no longer accidental, and that when the truth finally surfaces, it will shatter something real. The line, once crossed, does not announce itself. It simply disappears. Days turn into evenings. Evenings stretch into quiet nights where the office lights remain on longer than they should. Anna becomes the last desk occupied on the floor more often than not, and he notices, not with words at first, with presence. When a senior executive speaks over her in a meeting, he cuts in smoothly and says, "Let her finish. It's so got." When a department head questions her numbers, he asks Anna to explain them herself, then backs her conclusion without hesitation. When a board member jokes about assistants being interchangeable, his expression hardens just enough to silence the room. These moments are small, but to Anna, they are seismic. She has learned not to be defended, not publicly, not by someone like him. One afternoon, an email arrives marked urgent, a last-minute investor call, a scheduling conflict that would normally land squarely on her shoulders as a problem to solve alone. She walks into his office with the information already organized, alternatives prepared, solutions listed. He listens, quietly, fully. "This will upset them," she says carefully. "Let them be upset," he replies. "You did the right thing." She blinks, surprised by how easily he says it. That night, the city is drenched in summer heat. The air conditioning hums softly as they review documents side by side at the conference table. Their shoulders nearly touch. "You should take tomorrow morning off," he says suddenly. She looks up. "Sir, you have been working non-stop." "I am fine." He studies her for a long moment. That was not a suggestion. A rare smile curves her lips. "All right. Way." The next day, she walks through a small park near her apartment, phone in her hand, mask still tucked away in her bag like a secret she cannot release. She does not expect to see him there. He stands near a coffee stand, sleeves rolled up, jacket gone, no entourage in sight. Just him, holding a paper cup and looking strangely human. Their eyes meet. For a split second, panic flashes through her. Then he smiles. "Anna," he says, "I hoped you would say yes to the day off." "Well, you planned this," she says lightly. "I prefer to call it coincidence." They sit on a bench, talking about nothing important. Books, music, the city, childhood routines. He listens when she speaks. Truly listens. No one interrupts. No one rushes them. As the afternoon sun lowers, he grows quieter. "You are different," he says finally. She exhales. "Different from what?" "From people who want something from me." Her chest tightens. She wants to tell him the truth, that she already knows who he is beneath the suit, that she has seen him without the power, without the title, without the mask. Instead, she says nothing. That evening, as they part ways, he hesitates. "There is a gala next week," he says. "I would like you there." "As your assistant?" she asks carefully. He pauses. "As yourself." The words echo long after he leaves. Back in her apartment, Anna sits on the edge of her bed, the mask resting in her lap now. The weight of it feels heavier than before. She knows what is coming. She knows what she is risking. Because she is no longer just hiding a mistake. She is guarding a connection. And the closer they grow, the more devastating the reveal will be. The night of the gala arrives, dressed in inevitability. Anna stands in front of the mirror, adjusting the simple black dress she chose on purpose. No drama, no excess, just clean lines and quiet confidence. Her hair is pinned back, her makeup restrained. The mask lies on the dresser. She stares at it for a long moment before lifting it carefully, almost reverently. The fabric feels familiar now, heavier than it should be. This is the last lie. The ballroom is larger than the one from the masquerade. Brighter, sharper, stripped of illusion. Crystal lights blaze overhead. Cameras flash. Names are spoken with reverence. Power hums in the air like electricity. She enters beside him, not behind. Heads turn. Whispers ripple. She feels it immediately. The shift, the attention, the unspoken questions. He leans slightly toward her. "Are you all right?" "Yes," she says, even though her heart is racing. They take their seats near the front. The program begins. Speeches follow one another, polished and predictable. She barely hears them. Her pulse pounds in her ears. Then it happens. "And now," the host announces, smiling broadly, "a special acknowledgement. Last year's masquerade fundraiser exceeded all expectations, and the woman who helped make that night unforgettable is with us this evening." Anna's breath catches. She was the anonymous guest whose donation inspired a record number of pledges. The host continues. Please welcome Anna. The room turns toward her. Every face, every camera. She freezes. Slowly, she stands. She feels his eyes on her now, sharp and focused, searching her face with sudden intensity. The host gestures. And of course, standing beside our chief executive officer tonight. The silence is deafening. His expression changes. Recognition crashes through him like a wave. The way she stands, the curve of her smile, the sound of her breath, the kiss, the mask, the stranger. Her? The realization drains the color from his face. Anna, he says quietly, disbelief threading his voice. She meets his gaze. There is no mask now, no escape. I did not plan for you to find out this way, she says, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. The cameras zoom closer. Whispers swell into murmurs. You, he begins, then stops. The host laughs nervously, sensing the tension. A beautiful story, is it not? Fate bringing us together twice. Anna remains standing. May I speak? She asks. The room stills. She nods once, then turns fully toward him. I never intended to deceive you, she says, loud enough for the microphones. I was an assistant doing her job. I was also a woman who made one mistake. Her words land hard. His jaw tightens. You should have told me, he says quietly. I was afraid, she answers, because the truth would have changed everything. It already has. The host clears his throat. Perhaps we should continue the program, but the damage is done. Eyes follow them as they leave the stage area, moving into the quiet corridor beyond the ballroom. The door closes behind them. You let me believe, he says, voice low, controlled, dangerous. You stood in front of me every day. And you never asked, she replies softly. Silence stretches between them. Finally, he says, I trusted you. Her chest tightens. So did I. The music swells again outside, oblivious. Inside, something precious has shattered, and neither of them knows if it can ever be put back together. The corridor feels colder than the ballroom. The music beyond the doors fades into a distant thrum, replaced by the low hum of the building and the sound of their breathing. Anna stands with her arms crossed, not defensively, but to keep herself steady. He paces once, then stops. You looked me in the eye every day, he says. His voice is quiet now, stripped of the sharp edge it carried moments ago. You listened to my calls, you organized my life, and all the while you knew. Yes, she says, I knew. Doom maving. 10-10. 10-10. 10-10. You let me talk about her, he continues. The woman from the masquerade, you let me wonder who she was. She swallows. Because you were not wondering about her, she says softly. You were wondering about how she made you feel. He turns toward her, frustration flickering across his face. That does not make it better. No, she agrees. It does not. Silence stretches again. Then he asks the question she has been dreading. Were you ever going to tell me? She does not answer immediately. I wanted to, she says finally. Every day. But the moment I did, I stopped being just Anna. I became the assistant who crossed a line, the woman who used proximity to power to get closer to you. His jaw tightens. Is that what you did? No, she says firmly. And you know that. He looks away, hands clenched at his sides. This is not only about trust, he says. It is about control. You took my choice away. There is way to us, Johnny, and you take choices away every day, she replies before she can stop herself. He freezes. She exhales, steadying her voice. You decide who stays, who leaves, who gets promoted, who gets ignored. I live in that reality. I did not deceive you for advantage. I stayed silent because I was afraid. Afraid of me? He asks. Afraid of what you represent, she answers honestly, and afraid of losing the one place where I was treated like more than a role. And aghast. The words hang between them, raw and unpolished. You never asked who I was, she continues. Not really. You saw what you wanted to see. That is not fair, he snaps. No, she says, her voice breaking just slightly. It is not. Neither is this. For the first time, something cracks in his composure. He runs a hand through his hair, the gesture unguarded, human. Every relationship I have had, he says slowly, has been poisoned by my position. People lie. They perform. They want something. I wanted nothing, she says, except honesty. And somehow, I lost that too. They stand there, two people trapped on opposite sides of a truth that arrived too late. "I cannot do this," he says at last. "Not like this." Her heart sinks, but she nods. "I understand." "You should transfer," he adds. "Another department, another floor." The words land harder than an insult. "You are firing me," she says quietly. "No," he replies. "I am protecting both of us." "Okay." She straightens. "I do not need protection." His eyes soften for just a moment. "Then this is goodbye." She turns before he can see the tears gathering. The walk out of the building feels endless. Each step echoes with what could have been. Outside, the night air wraps around her, cool and unforgiving. Above her, the lights of the tower remain bright. Inside, a man stands alone, staring at his reflection in glass, realizing that for the first time in his life, power has cost him something he cannot buy back easily. The days after she leaves feel hollow. The office continues to function. Meetings are held. Deals move forward. Numbers rise and fall exactly as they always have. On the surface, nothing changes. Except him. He notices the silence first. No soft knock before decisions. No calm voice organizing chaos. No steady presence anchoring his worst days. Her desk is empty now, already occupied by someone new who moves too quickly and speaks too carefully. Efficient, replaceable, wrong. At night, he finds himself replaying moments he dismissed at the time. The way she never interrupted, the way she spoke when she disagreed, precise but respectful, the way she never once asked for anything. And the mask. He opens a drawer in his desk and pulls it out. Security returned it after the gala, assuming it belonged to him. He had not corrected them. The fabric still smells faintly like her perfume. He finally understands the truth he avoided. She never used him. He used the distance his power created to avoid seeing her clearly. The next board meeting is scheduled for Friday morning. The agenda includes a routine item buried halfway down the list. Assistant restructuring. He stares at the words for a long time. Then he does something no one expects. The boardroom is full when he enters. Conversations quiet. Heads turn. He does not sit immediately. "I am making a correction," he says, voice steady. "Effective immediately." A board member raises an eyebrow. "Regarding what?" "Regarding a mistake," he replies. He explains. "Not everything. Not the kiss. Not the mask. But enough." He speaks about boundaries, about accountability, about power that must answer to integrity. Then he says her name, Anna. The room stills. "I am reinstating her position," he continues, "with a new title, a new contract, and autonomy that reports directly to the board, not to me." Murmurs ripple through the room. "This is unprecedented," someone says. "So was losing her," he answers simply. Across town, Anna sits at her small kitchen table, laptop open, coffee untouched. The days since she left have been quiet. Too quiet. Her phone vibrates. A message from Human Resources. Then another. Then her email refreshes. Her breath catches as she reads the subject line. Formal apology and appointment. She scrolls, heart racing. The words are clear, precise, public. He has acknowledged wrongdoing, taken responsibility, created distance where it is needed. And then, at the bottom of the message, one final line. He requests your presence at the office tomorrow. No obligation. She closes her laptop. The next morning, she walks back into the building with measured steps. Heads turn again, but this time the whispers sound different, respectful. He waits in the conference room, not his office. When she enters, he stands. "I am not asking you to forgive me," he says before she can speak. "I am asking you to see what I have done." She looks around. The contracts, the board signatures, the structural changes. "You chose to lose control," she says quietly. "Yes," he replies, "because it was the only way to do this right." She meets his eyes. "And if I say no, then I will accept it," he says, without conditions. Silence stretches between them. Then she reaches into her bag. She places the mask on the table between them. "This was a mistake," she says, "but it was also the most honest moment either of us had." He nods. "I want honesty, even if it costs me." She takes a breath. "Then we start again," she says, in the light. For the first time since the masquerade, he smiles without power behind it, just a man choosing differently. The weeks that follow feel different, not louder, not grander, clearer. Anna settles into her new role with quiet confidence. Her office is smaller than his, deliberately so, positioned near the boardroom rather than the executive wing. The boundary matters to both of them. They work together again, but not the way they did before. Meetings are transparent. Decisions are documented. Every interaction carries intention instead of assumption. When they speak, it is direct. When they disagree, it is honest. And slowly, trust begins to rebuild. One evening, long after the building empties, they stand by the windows overlooking the city. The lights stretch endlessly below, familiar yet newly defined. "I used to think leadership meant control," he says. "Now I know it means restraint." She nods. "And courage." He turns to her. "I never thanked you for holding me to that." She meets his gaze. "You chose to listen." End quote. Silence settles, comfortable and unafraid. A few weeks later, another event arrives. Smaller than the gala. No masks, no illusion. Just a charity opening for a community arts program he quietly funded under her guidance. As guests mingle, he stands beside her. Not ahead, not behind. Someone asks how they met. She smiles. He hesitates. Then he says it. "We met by mistake," he answers. "And then we chose to do things right." He's our say. Later, when the room empties and the lights dim, he reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls something out. Not a ring. The mask. He places it gently into her hands. "I kept it to remind myself," he says, "of who I was when I hid behind it, and of who you were when you did not." She traces the edge with her thumb. "What do you want now?" she asks. He does not answer immediately. "I want partnership," he says finally. "Not ownership, not imbalance, just choice. Every day." Redated Wendoms, Avrotova Elididramso. She looks at him for a long moment. Then she sets the mask down on the table between them and slides it away. "We do not need that anymore," she says. He smiles, soft and unguarded. Neither of them rushes the next step. There are no headlines, no public declarations, just shared mornings, difficult conversations, and a relationship built in daylight. Months later, standing on the same balcony where the city once felt overwhelming, he takes her hand. "Do you believe in fate?" he asks. She considers it. "I believe in responsibility." He nods. "Then let me ask you responsibly." He reaches into his pocket again, this time with steady hands. When she says yes, it is not because of who he is. It is because of who he chose to become. And when they kiss, there are no masks left to remove. Only two people, seen fully, choosing each other without mistake. Sometimes, the greatest love story does not begin with perfection. It begins with the courage to correct a single, unforgettable error. And that mistake becomes the truth they never hide from again.